Hi, I'm Jinx, and welcome to Anyland. I'll be your host through my Homeworlds. This video is a follow-up to my very first Anyland video where I just walked through my original homeworld. This is that, plus more, to see how things have changed over the past 7 years, and they have. And they have. So, in my point of view, you can see my actual homeworld. This is where I spawn in when I hit home or load into the game. I mentioned in my tips video to keep it simple. And simple it is. It loads fast, it's private, and this board has buttons to teleport to all of the worlds I think I've created. Only I've created, yeah. And Project Worlds, and of course all the Haunted Woods trails, right? These are quick and easy to get to. Anything that has a cyan button, there's a copy of the world for private. Oftentimes we did that, like the Haunted Woods trails you see, for friends and Philip to film, and some have. And so we just give them editor access and say, hey, behave, film whenever you're available if we can't be on. And boom, awesome. So this whole thing grew out of my old, not this, but when I had pop-up menus on my Cyberpunk arms in the early days that had teleport menu. And eventually I had transitioned that into my underground style mage, warlock, necromancer style robe avatar as a spell book that popped up from me, right? And I had the teleports there on the book. Eventually, there were so many, even before we started doing all our awesome Haunted Woods trails. Even just the first year, there were so many, and there were many entries and also Friends Worlds. And became a lot. And as much as I liked having holographic things pop up, off of my avatar, off a cyberpunky avatar, right? It just kind of became cumbersome in a way, and it was easier to make a board for it. And in fact, because whenever I wanted to go someplace, I just double tap home, and I'm home, just like that, turn and step up and then hit the button to go to Neon City, for example. Just that easy. And it was easier sometimes than opening up the areas menu and looking at created or visited lists or searching by a friend to see in the list of things they've made. So quick and easy. This place loads fast and easy, and oftentimes we just go here to what I more considered my homeworld, which is my apartment 2. This will show, we'll show it at the end of this video, but instead I want to cover what's beyond here. Yes, my original homeworld. Boom, confetti to celebrate. And as you can see, it is no longer a daytime beachy paradise scene. It is more similar to what I created when I first got into Anyland, October 2016. A nighttime scene with some purple sky back there and snow, because I love it when it snows. So I love snow. And then I finally did make another island after that bridge. And then I actually added a couple more, and we'll go there with the walkways and jazz. And then they needed bottoms to show that they were, land masses of some sort and not, just as graphics might call it, a floating biscuit. So, you may recall some of the things, like the trees, haven't changed, except yes, they have. Because what? They're now orange instead of green. And yes, that came out of models that we used for Haunted Witch Trails, even the first one. But also they now have some white on top to simulate the snow. Yeah, obviously. Instead of being sandy beach, there is white. And it's snow, white snowdrifts, whatever. And crazy snowmen. Right? And this one is the one from my apartment balcony. He throws a copy of his head. So, we'll cover this. Yeah, well, let's go this way first. There are things like when I made slime pets and the gun that shoots the slime pets. And I just stuck them up there. They look at you. That's part of their pet scripting. The cat model that shows up in, I think, all of our Haunted Woods trails, one place or another. Usually on a balcony or a roof. Definitely a Calvin and Hobbes reference, of course. A mutant deranged killer snowman, right? 2 heads, 3 hands. I bats. Yeah. This thing just got that cool particle effect. And let's see. Go here. This is an underground 2 style torch. You know, floating. Looks nice. This bridge no longer breaks away like it does Jinx Mansion. I just kind of run through here. And I did make this space. Like I had said in my original video, I had this bridge. It just ended with the water. And I wanted to make another island. I did. And this became a building space of mine for a while. So I've got a spotlight and lights, camera, and a side camera with a screen so that I could check if I made initial avatar updates so I could see from 2 directions and behind me. And also if I made any cool things and I wanted to hold it and see it, and evaluate it. So before we go up there, I'll show some nice trees. Yes, the Anyland sign. Philip actually made this, and I believe Delco yanked it from his Homeworld once, I believe, a long time ago. Of course, having some memorabilia and a sign made by the creator himself is super cool. And because of the spotlight, it creates that great shadow effect. So that was always fun. See the comets shooting? Where are they coming from? Way back there, right? And they zip by. One will hit the Protoss, pylon every once in a while and just shatter. But the gas giant back here is far, far away, and it's a model that's over there, sized up. And I just like how using this particular particle effect I did for the trail of the comets, well, this is going to be good, you'll see a few of them. The comets pass through the gas giant. And you see, but because they don't despawn, the particle effect stays until it passes all the way through. So it gives a simulation vibe of the comet actually entering the gas giant's atmosphere. And that's how you would see it if it didn't burn up. So that's fun. Lots of fun. This is a fun space I started building, and I was like, I kind of want a different space, a better space perhaps. So up here, I made this, and it was kind of like a Aztec style, not quite full pyramid. And this space with the diamond plating floor became a build area for me. And you can see I put out multiple lights, so it was nice and bright even in the darkness here. And there's a build tool, so you can precisely move things over to the side an exact amount of times, etc. Another reason I used this instead of the old building over there was to get away from things, right? So even before setting show at on anything, and I didn't on anything in this world, if you have a lot of things rendering in your view, it can affect your frame rate, especially if you don't have a super awesome computer. And even if you do, it can, depending on what's up. So by looking this direction or this direction while building, I'm not seeing much. Not much is rendering in my frame of view. And if I look at FPS VR, which I know does not show on the recording, I can see that I'm getting a perfect 120 frames per second with a frame time of 4 milliseconds. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. So for a while, this was where I was building stuff, when this was still kind of my homeworld, before I moved on to other interesting worlds and jazz. So up this way, what do we have? This portal takes us to the second level of the purple building area. But you want to see this. Of course you want to see this. This is a working pinball machine that Murky Mud created. And it's amazing. Descripting it is amazing. The ball has extra physics sync, right? And the whole thing's on an angle so that it functions like a proper pinball machine. And I'm going to just play. I'm not good at pinball, but I'm going to play it for a second. Grab this and you... No, well, you set it down. There. Yep, okay, here we go. So every time I hit trigger on these, instead of hitting paddles, Murky designed it to shoot these things. Ah, yeah, of course, I'm no good at pinball. Anyway, you can go through, you can get up to there, and things bounce around, and the score goes up. I just got 495 with a high score of 3,100. It uses the score scripting, so I know when Delco's here and he gets close, it'll switch to his name and his highest score since he's played here. And speaking of arcade machines, this was a prototype I had been working on of a shoot-'em-up arcade, a Galaga Galaxin style, and it doesn't shoot, and that's where I got stuck. I kept doing so many edits, I think I broke the emit script or feature. So this was the joystick that I created. It doesn't look like much, but you hit trigger, yep, and it triggers, so you could do this too. Like Murky's arcade machine, not rendering, he's got the side things you can actually hit like a proper arcade machine, or you've got the holes. So when you put this here, and when this thing collides with the L and R boxes, it will tell the ship to move left and right. Right? And like I said, it doesn't have the shoot scripts. So pretty fun. That was going to be the reset. I was going to have, of course, ships come down and then shoot. And there'd be, of course, a score and lives. And, you know, it would be pretty basic. But with Anyland scripting, it was absolutely possible. And actually not difficult at all if you know the concepts behind a shoot 'em up, which is one of the genres I absolutely love. This is that gas giant, but at the scale I built it with the texture. And it's just absolutely gigantic, far in the distance now. So, we're not going there. We're going to go down here. Yup. And down a little more. And here we go. So some of the classic stuff. So, Doom receiving pad, whatever. This is where I did build a lot of things over the years. Way before I built that spot. And I updated the camera to be, light, to be my more modern style where it follows you. And so, yeah, there's that. We've got, of course, how could I forget? I had made a cheesy, simple Stargate at scale back in the early days, and Delco actually made this accurate Stargate Atlantis Pegasus Galaxy style Stargate at scale, but with, you know, the constellation glyphs with the animation, and it's just wow. Another thing here is you see the light orb that's zipping around the perimeter of this space. It's on a sub thing that is just going around. Just going around all the corners, zipping around. One of the first sub things I made when I was experimenting with sub things, even ahead of my old outdated sub thing video. So I thought that was neat to have light that just does that. This building area hasn't changed much. Structurally hasn't changed at all. This Gur is now a Sir, in red, of course. And the original Gur is unchanged. This is the head I made the first couple of nights in Anyland that I was not happy with at all, and I would never make that my head. This is the robot bartender from Mos Eisley Cantina. Delco, Emily, and I built together with a geometric birthday cake because he's serving a birthday cake. How cool. Very fun. What is the Stargate powered by the way? And there's the old Stargate. Ugh. The Stargate is powered by a car battery. A car battery plugged into a Firefly lightning bug, which was actually one of the first things I made, I think, 2605 days ago. 2582, yeah. Fun stuff. So let's go up. That is, let's see. Okay, edit it to show. When told by any, beat it. Then become next. When starts, then play drum set. 16 with 200 become 3 in 6.6 seconds. When starts, then play drum set. 16 with 200 become 2. Yeah, okay. So it's a loop. It's a music box loop. So the red one says, when told by any, beat it. That's what the switch will send. Become next in 6 seconds. When starts, then play electro step rift with 60 become 3 in 4 seconds. Ah, yes. When starts and play electro dubstep rift become 2 in 4 seconds. So loops. So I'm going to just play this and then I'll kill it because there's no way to actually stop it. You can see when the states change on the shapes. I did it so that the colors change to let me know visually what's playing on what loop. You can see the faster ones, slower ones. Like I said, it doesn't stop. So that was just an experiment in, I called it clubbing music. Delete. That wasn't even part of it. That's why it was a tell any command. So that's fun. We teleport up to the second level. And I won't go through all the things I did in the very first video I did. But these boards originally, when this was like my homeworld and where I was making projects, I was starting to, you know, put lightsabers and guns, as I still have. And they were just kind of like a museum showpiece. But of course, part counts and thing counts being what they are, you know, rendering being what it is. You can't just store things like that in close proximity without using a show at, as we do, later on. So stuff stays in my inventory or in the Delco Jinx warehouse now. So this is a replica Doom plasma gun. In fact, this is the version 1 before I added the two-handed feature. So you can just hold it with one hand. But it used to, the other one does. It glues to this hand so that you can move this hand with a pivot point. So fun, always fun. And, the first ray gun I made in Anyland, which I love the design of it. It looks like a proper ray gun, but I made it before snap angles at all. And you can see it's not even emitting from the center point. And things aren't even close to being lined up. The Jabberwocky eye staff, still love it. Still happy with this staff model. And then here you can see some evolution of lightsabers. So my very first video, I had some simple ones and some basic ones. And then you can see now, over time, because I liked making lightsabers, it's always fun. You can see that I started incorporating new ideas, like, the prongs, which I always thought was fun. And then different sound effects. Right? Until I got to, this is probably my favorite one, maybe? Yeah. Yeah, I think this is probably, if I had a lightsaber all to myself, this would probably be one with the actual Star Wars sound effects when you hit things. Right? Good stuff. And then, because I like the purple. I like purple and orange lightsabers, always have. We got the cross-blade model, right? Which had to have extra scripting to make the sides come out after the main one did. Good stuff. And the fireplace, and there's so many potions they're not rendering right now. There they are. So all the teleport potions that I've made to places, for example, Haunted Wood Strails, yep. And you just drink that and teleport straight there. Same thing with all the Haunted Woods. Jinx Hub World, No Man's Land Deathmatch, Doom 2 map I made for Doom 2 in the 90s, recreated in Anyland and playable. Different things, different potions I've made, like the confetti potion, the rainbow stuff. The slime ones you can see in the underground. If you drop it, it spawns a slime. If you drink it, it just makes a bleh sound, and then you start emitting green particles. Ew. Which is crazy. The pink slime potion that I never showed, but has shown up in places, is kind of a practical joke one, where when it breaks, it will emit a pink shape, I guess, kind of a 3D oval, which will then emit another one, and then emit another one, and some of them shoot, sometimes far, sometimes close, and it starts building, a slime a whole slime thing going. So it's dangerous. And I'll show this, which is fun. The fire bloom potions. And just like the game A Hat in Time, you can shake it. Because when you throw it, it blows up. Always fun. So, bottled fire boom. You can drink it. It'll do the same bleh thing as the slime ones. But then you throw it, and it blows up. Sweet. And the couch, let's see if I can maybe get things lined up. Yeah, I think I can, right? So the couch, as I explained in my first video, I can line it up with my real life couch, and the arm is right here, right? And so I can actually sit and watch the comments go by, watch the Invader Zim Voot Cruiser now. But I used to stretch out. I could lay down on the couch, right, and just open up the forum boards like this, and I could start reading them or something, and just relax in the snow. How wonderful. So yeah, I explained that 7 years ago, but I never actually showed it. Let's see. Yeah, the Voot Cruiser. So Anyland was rumored to get what became the legendary vehicles update. Philip had done some prototyping, and it was found that vehicles would use your menu, I think like this, probably not flipped over, and there'd be a joystick, and you just grab it, and then you could, move it around like a joystick, and I guess accelerate and whatnot. And some people super overhyped it, as online people often do these days. So if it had ever come out, it would never have lived up to anyone's expectations if they overhyped it. So when Delco built his DeLorean, which is in a garage in the DeLorean world, modeled after not just Back to the Future, but specifically Parzival's in Ready Player One, he had multiple screenshots of DeLorean and all that stuff. He's awesome at replicating things accurately, and I don't have the patience for it. So while he was doing that, while hanging out with him and Emily, I decided I too would make some sort of vehicle. Specifically, I was going to go with something smaller, more geometric, and easier to do, which is Invader Zim's Voot Cruiser. So if I get up here, you can see the bubble cockpit. Boop. And I can actually step in like that. And Gur's already waiting, right? So flip the switch. Yep. Okay. So using persistent states, I made the cockpit glass. And so if I were to actually sit down in real life, I would be lined up pretty well so I could see this console. And then I could use the joystick controls, right, to maneuver it around and whatnot. So that'd be fun. Fun also alternate thing that was done like a few times. I could do the old thing of attaching it to my head slot. Kind of like I have this normally invisibly there. And so if I put it so that I felt like I was in it, attached to my head slot, yeah, it would follow me if I turned my head, unfortunately, but it felt like I was inside an actual vehicle. And then if I had changed things on and I was in a world I had editor for so I could fly, I could just zip around like that, and it did feel really good. A long time ago in Cabbage's world, Cabbage's, I think he just named it, he had cars out there by the house, and people did that. I remember that, January 2017. People would attach the car to their hat slot, and then they could act basically like they were zipping around, which is pretty cool. So I think that covers all of the changes. Yeah, all of the changes over the past 7 years with my homeworld, my original homeworld. This is actually, I believe this is public. Yes, not private. So anyone can come visit if you want to. I know some people like Nebula had asked to visit, and we were never online at the same time, so I couldn't invite him in. And yeah, I might as well cover the Pac-Man marquee last thing here. So it's just black art. When Pac-Man's mouth closes, you can see a slight triangle. And when it opens, you could tell it's a bigger triangle. That's a black piece, very thin, right in front of the yellow circle. Just switching between two states. And you can see somebody's eyes blink left and right over time. So, super fun. That shows up in lots of my worlds and videos because I'm proud of it. I'm happy with it. We're going to go back to my apartment because I wanted to show off my apartment, the redone apartment. I've done a few videos here, and this in many ways has become my homeworld, even though it's private and it's not where I actually load in. It's usually where I end up going, and Delco would often meet me here. The spawn point is at the door, so that teleport I just took sets me right in the middle of the living room. And then so I'd usually end up here, and then Delco would be there and zip over, and it would be fun. And let's see. You could see a quick tour that way as the camera pans. And you can see some of the fun stuff in this space. And we're going to go up there towards the end because there's fun stuff up there. Oops. Yeah, point of view. So we have a screen with a camera that follows. And that's always been good for checking my avatar and stuff. And the orange slot, whatever, switch pulls up a Yule log style fireplace, like 10-hour fireplace, right? And so sometimes at Christmas time, I put a Christmas tree right up here, and I switch the light to my party light, so it's shifting through all the colors of the rainbow. And I'd put that up there, which is fun stuff. And the reason I mentioned that and why it stands out is, again, the couch I can sit down in. When Ready Player 2, the book, came out, although I wasn't a fan, I was not very happy with the book itself, I actually read it here in Anyland in VR, which is awesome because a novel about VR, living in VR, reading it while in VR is cool. I used the Amazon Kindle desktop app, and it made it a screen in VR using OVR Toolkit. And so I made it kind of big so it was easy to read while I was laying down on my real couch, on that couch right there. You know, enjoying the Christmas vibe. I remember the Christmas tree being there. And yeah, I could just use one controller to, I guess, tap and interact with that screen to turn the page. So again, wasn't a big fan of the book itself, but it was super cool to be reading a short book in VR that way. So this couch is of the style in Club Upload. And you can see it's sunken down. And if I was sitting down right now, I'd feel like I was close to the floor sitting down on the couch. And the base of the couch itself is uncollidable. And underneath the couch, a few feet, is a plate. And that's where the teleport beam actually goes to, right? Beanbag chair, very cool. And we've got a kitchen. Now, there was always a kitchen here, right? But now it's pretty. And it's just modern and nice. And when I revamped the whole apartment, I was inspired by my VR chat Homeworld. The world that I made home is very modern like this. It has lots of soft lighting and then wooden floors everywhere. It's very cozy. And I thought, hey, I could do something like that in Anyland. Of course, couldn't I? And yes, I could. And I did. So we got fun stuff here. And these guys from the game Kind Words, wonderful, wonderful game. That's apparently not a real table. Invaders and Irkin symbol. We've got that door and that door go nowhere. Just to imply that there's more. Like a bedroom, maybe a bathroom. From the Zork White House, when I had made the art studio room, screen, whatever, I loved this effect. I love doing paint splats on the walls. I love doing paint cans and an easel and the canvases laying out there. I did this exact same thing in House on the Haunted Woods Trails 3. There's a room towards the end, and then you come around and look at the painting on the easel, and it pops up some spookiness on the painting itself. So I always thought this corner was a cool artistic spot that I might have in an apartment such as this. Martini glass, and you can have fun there. Classic sink. I love under the counter lighting. Just Always. Always love it. Let's see, what else? What else? I guess this used to be just a hallway to a bed. And it was blocked off. And now it's just kind of storage. These are Delco's recreations of structures from the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, which we added to the model rooms world, just to show that, yes, building scale models, even complex ones, it's awesome and easy in Anyland. So we come through here. This will show one person in the world, just like I have right here, and it's me, right? And we'll see, this will show who's in Anyland right now. Oh, just me. Kind of makes sense. January 1st, right? The purple tentacles that are translucent and blinky and glitchy. I was inspired by our Raven's Witch lore and stuff. I was like, what if you had computer tech, which looks like Neon City style future tech, but also blended in some Eldritch horrors into the tech, make the tech work with organic. Like, ooh, freaky. And we have the aquarium, the built-in wall aquarium. I always thought this is a great idea. And I always intended in Jinx Mansion to have something like this until I made it here in the apartment. And I was just happy with this and just, yeah, I'm just happy with it. So it's cool. The goldfish is obviously on a sub-thing controller that moves him around. And that was also one of the first long sub-thing routines or paths that I made. So you'll see right here he twists around as he comes around. I didn't realize when I was making the path that I had twisted my hand, so the sub-thing controller, rotated. And so the model that I added to the sub-thing controller, the obvious goldfish, he follows the path of the sub-thing controller block correctly, even though I messed up with the twisting. So, weird alien jellyfishy dude, and Emily made me the pink jellyfish guy. So, I've seen it a few places. The yellow inset in the wall, or the yellow lighting on the inset of the wall, is all faked with textures. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. It does not give off light at all, as you can see. Nothing, no yellow is glowing on my hand right now. So what it is, this square here, rectangle, is a texture that fades from yellow to nothing. Glow in the dark yellow. And it's the exact same texture that is right here, right? Except it's a little more defined up here. And under here, it's just a glowing yellow texture. So it gives off the feeling that this is a light that is glowing on this panel, right? Again, faked with textures. Speaking of that, faked with textures. Those are not 3 spotlights. Those are 3 glow-in-the-dark shapes. And there's one texture on this wall, and I bordered it out so you don't get bleed on the outsides. This is that texture Delco discovered and we started using in Raven's Witch for the glowing windows on everything. And so just taking that and, sizing it whichever direction to make 3, and then putting 3 spotlights right where each glow is, totally gives the illusion of spotlights. And that is a pretty cool effect. Close up, farther away, it's fun. So we'll go up these stairs, which are dangerous because, they're broken out. But of course, you've seen my tips video, so there's a ramp, an invisible ramp there to make it easy to get up. So this, it's not a blue brick balcony alcove thing. Wait, it's snowing out there. It's not snowing in here. Wait, nope, yep, attention to detail max. It snows out there, particle effect, and out there. And the snow stops before it would hit this spot, so you never ever get snow inside. Yeah. So, this door will now open automatically when you get near it. Nice. And this guy still, pop, throws his head. We got snow. Fun stuff. And you notice the giant gas giant from my homeworld, original homeworld, is now here. And this is some sort of weird space, right? And over here, Delco had Castle Ravenswitch, the whole thing at scale, the whole facade that we actually used right here at the end of that path. And it was awesome. Super cool. Good stuff. But if we turn around, we see this building floating kind of thing. And do you recognize it? You will when we get closer, right? I mean, we got to get scanned first. Do you recognize that door and its opening sequence? Oh, yes. It's a recreation of Jinx Mansion in my apartment. Yep. So after Delco and I made the video showing the actual correct puzzle solution to get into Jinx Mansion's lab, in Jinx Mansion proper, we no longer had a private spot to build anymore, right? So, like having my apartment complex private, and it just became a thing. I would just move it here. And then I added making the ceiling with that switch open up so you can get this awesome view of the gas giant. I mean, wow. How cool is that, right? Like, we're in VR. Why do things realistically? Ever. So, you're supposed to get on that for it to come down. Sure. So, all the retro encabulator stuff, right? And the shooting gallery thing. And another prototype vehicle thing I made, which was fun. And then, just like in Jinx Mansion Lab, we have this exact same thing. And that's great, isn't it? So, we'll zip through. You got a quick camera shot. Yep, through the wall. Nice, nice. And yeah, I don't know. Kind of look good there. This has been a tour of my homeworlds. Homeworlds plural now, as things have gone on the past 7 years, and I've made cooler spots and more efficient spots and fun spots. Yeah, all like, having more fun making other things and then hanging out in them has been awesome. So, yeah, enjoy. Deactivate recording mode.